we are the only guys who have owners who have zero sporting history.
He's the guy that clearly he wants superstars, and I think that Clearlake they're more of like, all right, we're gonna go the more technical, the more secure way. We're gonna buy young players.
Even at the time, did those signings make sense? Did Enzo for 120 mil make sense? Did a Mudryk that hadn't even played in a top 5 league, that only had one group stage campaign for 70 mil, did that make sense at the time? Even at the time that when they bought them, the answer was no. At least to me, it didn't make sense to me.
Who would you rather have, Boehly or Claire Ocean, to have 100% control, or neither?
The thing is that I'd probably say more. They probably have to go with Boehly because Boehly actually has background in
Sports, yeah.
And the thing is that you can clearly see that I think that's the reason why they made him the face, because he's not the majority owner or none that is. He's actually quite a minority owner, but
Yeah.
they made him the face because he's the guy that when you want to speak to, like, to obviously to reassure the fans, yeah, this guy he's done stuff with the Dodgers and all that stuff, quite successful brands in American sports and all that stuff. So that's the reason why they made him the face. But you can see that as time goes on nowadays, like, Eghbali is the guy you see the most of, and he's the guy really pushing like the way the club is being run, and he's the face of the obviously Clearlake, which are the majority owners, and.
But because my thing though is that I don't know what is the disagreements here. Like, what is the Eghbali direction and what is the Boehly direction? Like, what do you think that's kind of civil war that disagreement is about?
They haven't disclosed that.
I think you can see that when.
No, that's what I'm just trying to guess what it is because. Yeah.
Because when Boehly came in, he was the sporting director for that first summer. When he came in, when we just bought the club, and you can clearly see the type of players he was going for. He was going for he was going for experienced players that have a certain cachet in the game, and he was not scared to pay them big bucks wages was. And like I said, I think that you can see since he's left, we've just done a 360 and gone down on the 25-year-old cap, and I think that's clear. I think that's
so okay. So you think that Clearlake is the whole buying very young? That wasn't Boehly.
Yeah, I think that's especially when you see, because obviously he has other teams like for example in America or in other sports, like if you look at his other teams, like they usually buy like top players, like for example the Dodgers and all that stuff. He's the guy that clearly he wants superstars, and I think that Clearlake they're more of like, all right, we're gonna go the more technical, the more secure way. We're gonna buy young players, and obviously you can see like they're in the building equity. For example, the Sancho deal. You buy a young player that at a certain point was worth a lot of money. Obviously, you see his career is gone. He's gone down a bit. So now you're going to buy him low, trying to they're just investing in stocks. They're trying to invest in stocks, trying to build up the way, and then if they see that they can make profit, we sell him. For me, that's like a Sancho is the clear example. Even a João Felix that was rated highly, he's going to bid down now. You know what? We're going to buy him for 40 mil. We're hoping that he performs well for us, and then maybe we can flip him back for like 80 mil in the future. That's the Clearlake way of doing stuff. And I think
because my worst thing, like, guys, like, Kenny, they're a private equity firm. So they are pure. They have, because I looked at the history and everything. They have no history on their business. Look at Eghbali's history. There is not a single inkling of anything to do with sports with these guys. So my thing is that if Clearlake have full ownership, like, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you look at FSG, you look at the Kroenkes, you look at the Glazers, all of them at least have. So FSG, LG, we know. Do they have sporting stuff history? FSG. So basically, I think Clearlake might be the only owners who have zero sporting history.
Yeah, I think them and the Glazers.
No. Glazers have something as well.
Yeah, there was
Blazers have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, Tampa Bay.
they
Yeah,
have the
Buccaneers.
box.
When they started
they
at
have
Man
the box.
United, they didn't have anything. But
Yeah.
now
So when they had at United was before they were with the Tampa Bay people.
yeah,
they had
but
United
now they
before
have
because-
more stuff.
Yeah, now they have more
on
stuff
top of
here.
United.
And I think like for like Clearlake, I think maybe that they're hoping to like get into the sports world with that, but yeah, you can clearly see like they don't have the experience, and I think that's why I'm seeing Boehly probably is like I wanted to do stuff a certain ways. I wanted to like buy superstars. I think he wanted to continue technically the Abramovich were buying like confirmed players, world class players.
But then have you heard, because the latest thing I read was, and this sounds crazy, especially when you know that people are struggling with like cost of living and everything, which is crazy. Boehly says that he thinks he can quickly raise 2.2 billion.
Oh my god!
You know how insane it is to say you can
Billionaires
quickly
now make
raise
money, man.
2.2 billion.
No, obviously, let's be
You
like,
can make
when I
money,
see
man.
stuff
Billionaires now are
obviously-
When you have Hollywood under your control,
that sounds just so effed up in today's climate.
Yeah, shout
It's
Shout
disgusting.
out.
It's disgusting. Yeah, sorry, Kenny.
Obviously, we're talking about different tax brackets. Like, let's be real, the guy on his phone probably have guys like their net worth are worth like billions. So obviously, yeah, the guy can say, yeah, he can probably get that type of money to buy the whole club. But the thing is that I don't think Clearlake, like as a majority owner, I don't think they're trying to sell. I think what's going to probably happen is Clearlake are going to buy out Boehly. I think that's probably what's really going to happen. That majority of the club, let's be real. And even part of
Hold up. Shout out to I Am Me. I just looked it up. And I just Googled it. The Glazers bought the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 1995.
Yeah, they bought him because Tampa was about to go bankrupt.
So they owned the Tampa Bay Buccaneers before Man United.
So you guys are the only people to have owners that have never worked in
That's what I'm saying. Like, we are the only guys who have owners who have zero sporting history.
Majority owners.
Yeah,
majority owners. Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, like I was saying, I think that probably what's going to happen is since they're the majority owners, and like they said, I don't think they're trying to sell, and they've invested quite a lot as well. So I think Boehly is probably the guy that's going to get bought out, and that's the issue with consortiums as well, is that when you have different people like this, I think you have this Boehly, obviously you have this guy from Swiss, Clearlake, like there's so many chefs. Like, at some point, there's
no. Like Kenny, once I heard the term consortium, I'm like, oh god.
Yeah.
Like a consortium. I mean, like, so we are not being led by a consortium of just business guys. That's messed up.
Yeah.
You can be, but the problem is that Chelsea as a club for the last 20 years were run by just one person, Roman Abramovich, who was a clear owner. Now, even though Eghbali is the face of this consortium, the consortium's like, 8 or 9 people on a panel board?
It's a lot of guys.
Deciding decisions.
A lot of businessmen.
But that's it. And the thing with the consortium, they might have discussion, but at the end of the day, like whoever owns the most of it is the guy that Clearlake. At the end of the day, all you guys here, you're a consortium, but at the end of the day, who has the biggest say is Clearlake. So that's the thing.
And my thing though is that for Clearlake, do they really care about winning trophies or anything? Because what I say, so in business we learn that there are elastic products and inelastic products. So an elastic product profits vary based on the demand. So basically, like fashion is elastic products. Inelastic products is like your groceries, stuff that no matter what happens, there will always be constant. Football is an inelastic product, no matter what happens, because football it's a drug. They need it. So my thing is that these guys are like, bro, do you know how profitable, if you do this right, running a Premier League club is? People will always buy the merchandise. People are tripping over themselves to join the stadium. Because guys, of course, they're thinking of raising the damn price. So for them, it's like, are you here about we want to try and bring back trophies, or let's just keep this wheels running and just trying to get as much money as possible?
Obviously, I do think that they kind of want to win, but at the end of the day, they're not going to go crazy. They're not going to be like an Abramovich where winning is probably the number one priority.
No,
you can clearly see that. Like all these wage bill stuff and all that stuff, they're trying to make the club more sustainable. So that will come with certain restrictions. You can't just go and buy a top player whenever you want.
Okay, so hold on. Let me bring in SK. SK, talk to me. SK.
Yeah,
Like
on this whole like ownership thing. In terms of it's kind of a weird thing because it's like they have very contrasting ideals of what they want to do, right? And I think we've seen kind of the good and bad of both, right? Like if you go back to that 2022 transfer window under Boehly, like let's keep it a stack. It was bad. Like, brought in Sterling, Eghbali, Cucurella was overpaid. But what I would say about that is, as bad as that transfer window was, at the time that it was made, if you take out hindsight, those signings made sense.
Yes. Thank you. At the time, they made sense. Like, let's not be revisionist. That's what transfer about. Some work, some don't. But at the time, of course, it made sense. We still saw Koulibaly had something left in the tank, and we still thought also Sterling could do something. It didn't work out. It doesn't mean that at that time it did not make sense at the time.
So, and then you move over to January 2023, right? So you spend 70, because I'm pretty sure Eghbali and Clearlake or whatever, they started to really get in control after pretty much, because I think they were the ones that wanted Tuchel out, if I'm not wrong on
I thought that was Boehly.
I heard it was Eghbali, but I'm not sure.
No, it was Eghbali.
Okay.
So you take out like Tuchel, like literally a week after the transfer window closes, right? Which is kind of crazy. Because consider all the money you just spent on players that he asked for. And then you get to January. So what do? They spend 120 on Enzo. They spend 70 on Mudryk. They spend 45, I think, was on Badiashile. What else did they buy? They bought Fofana for like the Datro one for 12 million, which is actually not a bad signing. But
the Datro one's crazy, by the way. You have so many Fofanas.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I guess basically my point was those three signings that they made in January, even at the time, did those signings make sense? Did Enzo for 120 mil make sense? Did a Mudryk that hadn't even played in a top 5 league, that only had one group stage campaign for 70 mil, did that make sense at the time? Even at the time that when they bought them, the answer was no. At least to me, it didn't make sense to me. So even if that's always been my issue.
So think it was Eghbali who fired Vivel.
Yeah, he was the one that was trying to bring in Nagelsmann and Luis Enrique at that time, and yeah, he was the report that he was the one.
So it was basically the plot thickens. The plot thickens. Like basically, this is just now. I'm just looking back at all parts of it. I'm like, oh, now I know how all this stuff now makes sense. Yeah,
because I think Boehly was the one that wanted to keep Tuchel when he was there. He wanted to keep Potter when he was there. He wanted to keep Poch. He was there, even though like obviously we don't like the last two. It's more so he cared more about like actually having like some stability for whatever they were doing. I guess the point I'm trying to make is even if you want to do the whole gimmick of like we'll go out and we just want to get young players. Even if you do that, you're not supposed to be spending that much money on getting young and proven players. That would just defeat the purpose. Like HH. As much as I like Enzo as a player, not as a person,
yes.
And there is literally nothing Enzo could have possibly done to make up for the fact that he was bought for 120 mil. At his best, let's say like he plays at his best, sustains that for like 5+ years, or whatever. He's still not worth 120 mil.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, bro.
Never going to make up for the fact that he's worth 70 mil. So it's like, what's the point? You're not going to resell them for more than what you got them for, even if they play well enough for you to like get money on them in the first place. So that's really what's not really made sense to me. Like if they got out and they got more Datro Fofana type signings where it's like low transfer fees or whatever, I still wouldn't like it. I would still be like, okay, why are we not getting established players? But at least would make sense because okay, you want to get young players, so you're getting them for cheap. If you're gonna get established players, you get them for high. Like it's just like common sense things.
So in your view, if Clearlake win and buy out Boehly, you think Chelsea are screwed?
Not entirely. Honestly, basically, whatever project that they're running right now, like we basically have to hope that they hit out of the park. Like best case scenario as a Chelsea fan, right? I would say would be, let's say Pep leaves this year. Chelsea finished top 4 this year, and they start because obviously the players are all going to be around 24, 25 in a couple years. So they start peaking around the same time. And I don't know, City don't getting like a good replacement manager, and Arsenal kind of stagnate or whatever. So Chelsea just have like there's an opening there for them to be top contenders in the league. That's the best case scenario. But you see how many things have to go right for that to happen.
Yeah, it's so many variables.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. So,
all right, so Elijah, talk to me, Elijah.
I go after Elijah.
Yeah.
Remember when this is going back to say a year ago, 2 years ago, like when I first started doing the streams, we were laughing like, Todd B, this, that, and the third, And then I think it was a Monday where I said I never really saw that Todd B was the issue. That we all said that. A lot of us said that. I said that for a fact. That Todd B wasn't really the issue because Todd B is a sports guy. Even if it's baseball, and, we laughed at, you guys are getting baseball contracts, this, that, and the third. You're going to start off, playing rookie ball before you get to the major leagues, stuff of that nature. I'm going to be very disappointed if his stake does get sold, because that 38.5% is a lot still, money-wise. I always believe that Eghbali was the issue because it's a money thing for them. It was about making money or even saving money to make money. My issue with Chelsea, honestly, is the years of contracts you guys have, which is about 190 something years worth of contract.
Elijah, you didn't have to.
No. This ties into why I think Boehly's not the issue. Because a smart man like Boehly, who's worked, even though it's a minor stake, in Dodgers, but at least
does he also own some of the Sparks as well?
The Sparks, yeah, he owns a percentage of the Sparks because the rest of the Sparks is with the Bus family and the Lakers.
Oh, yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me the way how Chelsea has been conducting business, in my opinion, since that first League Cup final in 21-22 afterwards. Because if you have that squad, that 21-22 squad today, you're so much better off than where you could be in terms of not finishing in the bottom half of the table. But you'd be finishing top half, maybe even top 6, top 5 with that 21-22 squad. My biggest concern my biggest concern is the fact that Todd Boehly is saying that he's lost faith in the people he's been working with. So I believe this is not a problem that started today. This is a problem when he stepped down as being the sporting director.
No, but because why it's so alarming is when people have said that, oh my gosh, what are Chelsea doing? What with all these signings, everything? The assumption was everybody was in hop on step, but the fact that these guys have had a relationship that has deteriorated obviously means that most likely Boehly is, bro, this is not how you run a sporting project.
Exactly.
Which is what everybody has been saying. And someone was like, no one runs a sporting institution like this.
And it's even more messed up because he was like basically plastered as the face of it. So people have been like getting mad at him.
That's the issue because everyone, bro, that's why I did the whole Todd B because, this ball is the whole thing. But now I realize that because only like months ago did I realize that 63% is owned by Eghbali and Clearlake. So he's not even the majority share owner, but yeah.
But no, this is 100%. Still, even though in terms of like transfers, I mean, James is right. Still, there's still no like explanation, but you can understand. You can give the guy credit for trying. One thing you can do, if you want, at least give effort and show that you want to do something. Boehly wanted to try to do something. Eghbali and Clearlake look like they don't really want to try. They just want to use Chelsea as a money project. You make a quick buck. You do know they just sold those hotels that are right by the stadium, right? Right. You see where we go from the gift. You know where we go from the gift shop. The hotels that are across the street. They sold those. They sold those so they could be able to survive PSR. Because supposedly they just made about 77 million pounds off of that. Like that's insane. Like that's what I'm saying. Like the Clearlake guys, it looks like they're just doing stuff to make a quick buck.
That's crazy.
If it was per se the Glazers, now the Glazers is an interesting one. If it was like the Cronkies or FSG, early FSG after they wiped the debt from Hicks and Gillett, in which it's like, okay, here's the project. It's going to take us X amount of years, 5 to 7 years per se, to get this team from mediocrity to success. Something like that. I don't think with Clearlake, there's never really been an actual plan or project for Chelsea. As in this many years, we're going to take Chelsea from here to here. We expect Chelsea to be here in, say, 2025. We expect Chelsea to be challenging for the title in 2027, 2028, stuff of that nature. We never seen that. I don't think there was an outlined project. That's why you guys are consistently in this limbo, and that's my concern.